Welcome to the explanation of our consumerism, its impact and issues, homework number 1 called Stuff Log. So basically, this is an assignment that requires you to log all your material possessions from one room in the place that you typically reside most of your time. So your bedroom, or if you sleep and tend to spend time in the living room, for example, you just can't pick like a kitchen or, I don't know, bathroom where you don't actually sleep in. So the place where you sleep and you have most of your stuff. If you have your stuff in another house, with your parents and you just have your main belongings at the dorm, then pick the bedroom that you live in the dorm. You don't have to do your bedroom at your parents' house. But the idea is that, where most of your stuff is, or at least where you typically reside, and I want you to estimate the value of possessions. You're going to look at your most recent purchases and that of a fellow classmate and make some comparisons. So why are we doing this? Well, one is to fully understand consumer patterns. You really need to start analyzing your own. And the first step in analyzing your own consumption patterns is to really see what you have, what you own, and not just gloss over it, to be very specific and take an actual inventory. Then you're going to start seeing your patterns. And once you start seeing your patterns, you're going to be able to compare with someone else's. And then you can really start seeing someone who's a customer set, customer base, start being able to see their consumption patterns, even if they're not related to you, that you're not having their lifestyle, you'll be able to compare it better. So the more aware of the good and bad consequences that you make on your purchases, the better you're going to be at your future purchases. So that's a big benefit. So how do you do this? So first of all, I give you the format. So cover page, course title, homework title, your name. Font, do basic. I mean, you can do something different from Times New Roman. Just, make sure that it's basic. It's not, something that's not legible. Typical size, 12-point font. Double space, please. Page numbers at the bottom of each page and include grading criteria at the end. So, part 1, inventory check. So you're going to select the room, preferably your bedroom, and make an inventory list of all the items, the stuff in your room. They have to be itemized. So you can't group into these vague categories like office supplies. No, you have to be specific, because that way you can gloss over things like, I have a bunch of office supplies, or I have some video games. No, you're going to specify the item and quantity. So pens, 10, for example. Pencils, 3. There's a difference between 10 pens and 30 pens and 800 pens. But if you just put office supplies, you wouldn't differentiate between that. So that's why you have to itemize. So it's not to torture you, but it's so you can get really specific. Now, you don't have to say like 2 ballpoint pens, 2 black felt tip pens. No. Group all the pens together. How many do you have? All the pencils together. How many do you have? Markers, erasers, that kind of thing. That's how you need to group them. And basically for each entry, you're going to answer the following 2 questions. Was the item in the room before you came in, or did you bring it in, or was it a gift? And what was the estimated value of the item? So you're going to specify the item of the actual item, the quantity, and then did you buy it, or was it a gift? Was it already there? And what's the estimate value of the item? So estimate, it doesn't have to be exact and at the time that you purchased it. So because that's easier to remember than, the value that it is now. So you're going to create a table. You can do the table in a Word doc, or you can do an Excel, just like this. See, this is the item. Was it in the bedroom, or did you bring it in the room or brought it? Gift, purchase or gift, estimated value. They happen to break it down into these 2 columns. You can do that as well. And then it has 3 baseball hats. Boom. Okay, they were purchased and the value. Now, when you have groups like 3 baseball, 20 pairs of shoes, you can estimate the value. Give me a low and a high. So in this case, 20 pairs of shoes, the cheapest was around $5, the most expensive $100. So give a range. Okay, so if you have a group of items, give a range. But again, it could be an Excel if you want, or it could be a table on Word. It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to do that. Then below the table, add an analysis answering the following questions. So what stuff, and by the way, you're going to put the total at the very end, the total value of everything that you have. Now, below the table, you're going to add an analysis. So what does the stuff you currently live with say about the way you live your life? So you look at finish the list and then look at it and then think about, what does this list say about you? Okay, now no one's judging you, but the idea is for you to look at it and go, It could say that you're frugal. It could say that you're really big on entertainment things. It could say that you like to travel. It could say you love a particular, subject of some sort. But really stepping back, looking at the list, what do you think the list says about you? So give a description. And then suppose all your inanimate possessions, material things, were about to be destroyed by a natural disaster, fire, flood, earthquake, whatever. And you could only save 3 things. What would you save and why? Now, they have to be material things. We're going to assume your parents, your family members, your dogs, your pets are all safe. 3 individual material things. You cannot cheat and say my pictures, and it's like 1,000 pictures, and my this and my that. No, 3 things. If it's 3 individual pictures, it's 3 individual pictures. You could say a photo album that has multiple pictures, but then you're saving that one photo album is one photo album. Also something you can, if you take the computer, we're going to assume you're taking the charger with you. But if you take the mouse, that's a separate item. So that would be your second item. So you have to think about carefully, what would you save? Only 3 things. So no cheating. It has to be 3 things. Okay. And explain why you would save those. Describe what they are and explain why you would save them. So that's part 1. Part 2 is a survey of consumption patterns. So you're going to look at your 5 most recent transactions, purchases that you have made. And for each one, you're going to say what you bought, where you bought it, when you bought it, the date, and why you bought it. Now, transactions, no matter how big or small. Okay, so it could be vending machine. It could be, whatever the last things that you bought. It could be vending machine. It could be food. It could be clothing, entertainment, you name it. You bought it. So that gets in the list. The last 5. Then what you're going to do in section 2 is you're going to compare to another Cal Poly student. Okay, it could be from the class too, by the way. I just don't want you to compare to, like a family member that's older than you or way younger, because then it's not comparable. I want you to compare to another student. It doesn't have to be your major. It doesn't have to be from the class, but it can be someone from the class. So make a list of the 5 most recent things for them, and then you're going to make comparisons. So answer the same 4 questions for your classmate, and then you're going to discuss you and your peers' consumption patterns, and look at it. Do you see what are the common things? Analyze, assess the patterns, compare and contrast. What are the similarities? What are the differences? And conclude with a well-articulated sentence or 2 which summarizes and interprets your findings. Okay, so you need to summarize your information. So this is the criteria. This is just an example of an actual, actually, let me show you here, of an actual assignment. Right about, let me see if I can get that for you. This one. Okay, so cover sheet, your name, class, homework 1, and call it stuff log. You can put a graphic on there if you want, but their inventory check. So she did it on an Excel sheet, so she has it on a separate one, or you would put the table on there, and then you're going to answer the question. So how long does it have to be? It depends. We're looking at a paragraph or 2, usually a paragraph for question number 1, question number 2, again, paragraph. Then you're going to answer, do your recent transactions. Some people like to put them in tables. That's fine too, like a table. That's perfectly fine. And same thing with their classmate. The analysis, at least a paragraph. Sometimes I can get 2 or 3. It just depends on however long it needs to be for you to answer the questions. I'm big on quality, not quantity. So again, keep to the format, follow the instructions. At the very end, you're going to staple the grading criteria to the back. Okay, and you're going to submit a hard copy. And if you have any questions, please email me. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening.